Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Ryan Bledsoe was arrested. Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 40-year-old Marine veteran and Florida resident Robert Fairchild spent hours at the Capitol on January 6th. He walked back and forth along the police lines, and he assisted other members of the mob in wrestling barriers away from the officers. This was in various locations on the Capitol grounds. Fairchild then helped to move the barriers back into the crowd so the officers couldn't retrieve them. And at one point, he, quote, aggressively pushed officers backward along with a large crowd. So later, while officers were attempting to fend off another attack, Fairchild, quote, used his back and shoulder to press against both the barriers and the officers standing behind it. Then he went back to attempting to pull the barricades away from the police. Eventually, the mob overtook the officers, and Fairchild was seen on surveillance video. He was entering the Capitol through a door that had already been breached. Fairchild walked through the building. He was chanting "Fight for Trump" along with the mob. And in total, Fairchild spent about 17 minutes inside the building, but he spent hours, as I said, fighting the police outside of the building. And Fairchild has a bit of a criminal history. It includes 6 convictions since he left the military in 2006. The prosecutor didn't provide many details about these convictions, though, other than they said that some of them are related to substance abuse, including 2 DUIs. So Fairchild was arrested on August 27th of last year. He was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, 2 counts of physical violence, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol, as well as assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers, civil disorder, and obstructing an official proceeding. In May of this year, Fairchild pleaded guilty to the felony charge of civil disorder. So he was looking at up to 5 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. However, the prosecutor requested only 11 months in jail, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Fairchild's attorney asked, of course, for probation only. And if he was going to be incarcerated, his attorney asked that he be allowed to serve his time in a halfway house or on home confinement. And I want to say, once again, how happy I am that these MAGA supporters are embracing socialism. They're using public defenders. They're all just really socialists at heart, I think. Anyway, Fairchild's attorney also noted that his client suffers from combat-related PTSD, and he said that he's now completed 4 months of substance abuse treatment. He's also gone through 18 sessions of cognitive behavioral therapy, as well as counseling through the Veterans Affairs. At the sentencing hearing, Fairchild spoke briefly. He said, quote, I take full responsibility for my actions that day. I will not participate in any actions like Jan 6 again. I made bad choices and I broke the law. So I will give him some credit. He's one of maybe only 2 or 3 that's actually admitted to violating the law on January 6th. I think that went a long way with the judge because U.S. District Judge Thomas Hogan presided over Fairchild's case. And he's a true law and order guy. He was appointed by Ronald Reagan, and he does not put up with any bull. But the judge said that he took Fairchild's military service into account. He also said that he felt that he expressed genuine remorse. And when all was said and done, Judge Hogan sentenced Fairchild to only 6 months in jail and a $2,000 restitution fee. He got off so easy. I mean, when you compare his actions and his sentence to some of these other people who weren't violent at all, this guy basically got a slap on the wrist. So anyway, I mean, I hope that his remorse was sincere. I hope he continues with his therapy. You know, I applaud and appreciate Fairchild for joining the military after 9/11. I do. What we do to young men and young women in the military is obscene. Their brains aren't done developing, and we expose them to some of the most horrific, mind-altering situations that leave them with these devastating traumas. And as I mentioned the other day, I don't think you should be allowed into the military until you're 25, until your brain is done developing. And if you take part in any type of combat, therapy should be mandatory after you get out, at the very least to assess your mental state. None of this, oh, if they need help, they'll reach out to us. No, mandatory across the board. And then if they're clear and you think they're good, fine, let them go. But this is craziness. Do I think it affected this guy? Do I think that maybe he's, in a little bit of an altered state and, he was trained to automatically have allegiance to the leader of the country, no matter how insane he is? Anyway, guys, if I hear any more, I will let you know. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.